Hello everybody and welcome to the next tutorial in the man-in-the-middle attack. So now let us try to run some of the more advanced attack with the man-in-the-middle framework. So in order to do that, let us see our available options first. So just type here ./- or ./mitmf.py --help, sorry for that. And let us see some of our available options that we can use right here. So if you scroll up, you can see a bunch of these options. Now we will mostly be using the --arp spoofing. We will use later on the DNS spoofing, or possibly in this video as well. What we want to do, I just want to show you that you can also specify targets with this. So not everyone on the local network will be exposed to the ARP spoofing attack. So if you just specify both the gateway and both the targets, or a single target, it can be used to only attack one single machine. Everyone else will be functioning normally. But be aware that sometimes when you close this program, everyone will be unavailable to connect to the internet because you were messing around with the ARP tables in both gateway and both your machines that you were spoofing. So it might take a few seconds, possibly a minute or two, in order for everything to get back to normal and in order for everyone to be able to access the internet once again. So let's actually specify a single target right here. We can do that with mitmf or -i for the interface. We specify the ETH0 as one for the interface, and we specify the same as before. So --spoof, then --arp, so for ARP spoofing, and then --target, and we can use our command prompt to check out the IP address of our Windows 10 machine. So it is 192.168.1.2, and then we specify that IP address right here, and then we specify the gateway IP address right after it, so 1.1. And I will not be running this command at the moment since it is the same as in the previous video. I just wanted to show you that you can specify a single target, or I believe if you, for example, do something like this to -20, it will ARP spoof all of the targets that have the IP range between .1.2 and between .1.20. So it's good to know that you can do that as well. And right now, before we continue, I want to show you the config file that comes with the mitmf. So what we want to do right now is I want to show you how you can perform the same attack on the HTTPS servers or websites as well. So we saw in the previous video that this website right here, which is HTTPS, wasn't vulnerable to our ARP spoofing attack, and we weren't able to see the username and password that were typed in on this website. But let's see if we can change that. So we won't run this command. Let me just delete this. And what you want to do, let me just first clear the screen. Just type ls in the mitmf folder, and you will see a directory called config. It is right here. So let's change our current directory into the config directory. And what we want to do is type here ls, and you will see that there is a file called mitmf.conf. Now, you will be using that file extensively while performing some of the advanced attacks right here in this tool, since all of the configuration is in that file. So right now what we want to do is basically we want to open that file. So let us nano mitmf.conf, and you will see some of the available options right here. So this is the configuration file, as it says right here. Everything that is after the hash is referred to as a comment, and it won't be run by our man-in-the-middle proxy. So this is for beef, metasploit, mitmf API usage. So we can see some specified host port. Now this is the default port for the beef XSS framework, which we will also cover in the next video briefly while performing the man-in-the-middle attack. The metasploit we will cover in the next section, but what we are interested right now is the DNS part right here. So you have a plugin called DNS in our man-in-the-middle framework tool, which can allow us to basically specify the IP address for a certain domain. As we can see right here, twitter.com equals 192.168.1.15. Now, we both know that this isn't the real Twitter's IP address, and it basically will redirect the twitter.com to the 192.168.1.15, which is my laptop's IP address. So, for example, I could be hosting a fake login page on my laptop, and I could be redirecting everyone to the laptop, and people wouldn't even notice. Since if I host a fake Twitter login page, everyone would think it's legit, since they typed in the Google search bar twitter.com and they were redirected to twitter.com login page. But it is a fake one. So let us actually try to use this, but not on Twitter, since I don't believe it will work, since Twitter is HTTPS over TLS. Now, sometimes I were able to get Twitter to display a fake login page, but not with this attack, with the HTTPS attack, which is basically stripping the SSL and performing the DNS resolving on Twitter, which basically just enabled us to be able to capture usernames and passwords on Twitter as well. But this doesn't work anymore, I believe, so we will specify a simple website like this one, which is HTTPS. So we can see that its domain is this one. We will specify it right here. So let me just type here star, then dot, then this right here. And we can specify the IP address of my laptop, since right there I am running Apache 2. Now, if you are running Apache 2 on Kali Linux, what you want to do is basically open a new window. Let me enlarge this right here. Now, your Apache 2 web page folder is stored in C, so change directory var, www, and html. So if you type here ls, you will have probably this index.html file, which is the file that you will display once someone types your IP address on the Google search bar. So let me just delete this file right here, and let me cat the index.html. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So let me just check my IP address. My IP address is .1.7. Now, if you open up your Firefox and type the IP address of your Kali Linux machine, it will lead you to your Apache 2 web page, if it is running currently. If it is not, I will show you how you can run it. .1.7, not really sure why is it displaying the OWASP. As we can see, is .1.7 even my IP address. So let's scroll up. It is my IP address, but it doesn't seem to be loading the correct page. So let's remove let's rename the index.html into 1.html. So this will display the page a little bit different, since Apache 2 only recognizes the unable to connect. Firefox can't establish a connection. The site could be temporarily. Okay, it doesn't even matter. What you want to do is basically take a fake page or any other page and put it in this folder and name the main HTML file index.html. So in order for the Apache 2 to display your fake page properly, you will need to name the file index.html. If you name it, for example, 1.html, this won't work. So keep that in mind. I will show you, once we create a fake captive portal, I will show you how you can clone pages and how you can put them in the Apache 2 and run them. For example, you can see that my Apache 2 is running on my laptop. If I type the IP address of my laptop, you will see it will lead me to this index of and then some files right here. So these are basically some of the files that I have in the /var/www/html folder, and they will be displayed on the page once you type the IP address. Now, the point of this is that you can have a fake login page displayed right here, and you can redirect this website to that fake login page. So every time someone types this in their search bar, they will be redirected here. Now, let us see how that works right now. So let us close this. First of all, what you want to do is Ctrl O to save, Enter, and then Ctrl X to exit. And let me just turn on the Apache 2 on my laptop. Okay, so it's already turned on. And what we want to do right now is run this command. So mitmf --help in order for us to, oh, it's mitmf.conf. We do not want that. We want to go one directory back. And right here run mitmf-help. And let's see what we can do in order to use DNS for the redirection. So if we can see right here, let me just find this spoofing part, since I believe it is right there. Did I pass it? Where is it? Okay, here it is. --DNS, so proxy modify DNS queries. That's what I was talking about. So we will use this one for anyone that specifies the certain name of a website that we specify in the config file. They will get redirected to my laptop, which is running Apache 2 on the IP address 192.168.1.15. Now, what you also want to do, if you want to perform the Ssl strip, is you can run this command right here, which is --hsts. Let me just find it. Where is it? Right here. It's not here. It's not there, not there. Let me just find it. There are just a bunch of options right here. It is not so easy to keep track of all of them, but it should be somewhere right here. Here it is. So Ssl Strip HTTPS loads plugin Ssl Strip, enables Ssl Strip for partial HTTPS bypass. So let us perform that, and we will run the full command, which looks something like this. So ./mitmf.py -i, and then we specify our interface, which is eth0 --, spoof. And then what we want to specify right here is we want to specify the both ARP and DNS spoofing. So we specify the DNS so we can use the thing we specified in the config file, and we use the --arp in order to perform the ARP spoofing as well. Right now, what we want to type after this is the gateway. So let's type the gateway. We will not specify the target, since we want to actually ARP spoof everyone on the local network. And after that, the only thing we need to specify again, or not again, for the first time is HTTPS. Oops. HTTPS, which will load the plugin for Ssl Strip, which will enable us to capture the information from some HTTPS websites. So once you type this command right here, just press here Enter. It will once again load the banner, and it will start our ARP spoofing attack. As we can see, the Ssl Strip is loaded, and both our DNS spoofing and ARP spoofing is enabled. So let's see now what happens when we go. So let me just close. So let's see what happens when we try to visit the domain that we specified in the .config file. So if I press here Enter, you will see that it doesn't even lead us to that web page. It actually leads us to my laptop web page. See, I typed here this domain, and I was redirected to the same IP address on my laptop. As we can see, these two pages are basically the same. So this is my IP address of laptop, and this is the domain that we visited before with the login page. As we can see, the redirection worked perfectly. And now if I had a fake web page right here, which looked the same as the real domain, I would get redirected, and nobody would notice that they are currently on the fake page, since it says the same domain name right here, and the page would look identical. If we check it right here, we can see that the DNS cooking the response of type A. Now this single A basically means for IPv4 IP address for this website, which we specified in the config file, to this IP address. So it performed the redirection using DNS spoofing. Now if you wanted to go, for example, to the login page that we went before, check it right here. So this is the web page right here. You can see that it is still HTTPS for some reason. Now, I'm not really sure why is that. So let us try to run this once again without the redirection. So let's close this for a second. So we successfully managed to redirect the person, but now we want to capture the username and password from that HTTPS website. So let us remove first the redirection. Let me just find, where is it? Okay, so here it is. We do not want this, so I will just leave it on twitter.com. It doesn't even matter, it won't redirect the Twitter. And if you go down here, you will find the Ssl Strip plugin or the configuration for the Ssl Strip. Now, what we want to do right here is basically, if you have a website that you want to perform Ssl Strip on, here, as it says here, you can configure your domains to bypass HTTPS on. The format is realdomain.com equals fakedomain.com. Now basically, for anyone typing, for example, facebook.com, they will get redirected to login.facebook.com, which will be a login page that you would be able to sniff the username and password from. Now, what we want to do right here, let me just close this for a second. And let me see if I can ping my router, since sometimes I get disconnected from the internet while performing the attack. Okay, so everything is good. And let's perform the same attack. So -i or interface ETH0 minus spoof, then minus DNS minus ARP. We want to specify the gateway as well, 192.168.1.1, and we specify HTTPS. And let us run this once again. Okay, so you can specify the minus interface, so let us just do it with -i, and let's run this attack. Couldn't listen on port address already in use. Okay, so this means basically that we need to restart this terminal. Since the address is already in use, we can actually use this one. We need to just go to the root and then mitmf, and now we want to run the same command. So -i ETH0. Now when you get that address already in use, just restart your terminal and it should be good to go. So I just used the different terminal instead, since I already had it open. So let's specify the same command. And let's run the attack once again. So gateway 192.168.1.1, and then HTTPS for the Ssl Strip bypass. Now I think that's it, and let's let this run. Everything is good. If we go right here and we visit this, for example, we can see a simple HTTP website. Could not proxy, request timed out. Okay, so my internet seems to be down. I will have to restart it, and give me just 1 second, I will be back. Okay, so I'm back on the internet, and let me just restart the terminal and then continue. Let's enlarge this. We just want to see if the Ssl Strip attack will work. Let's first change our directory to the man-in-the-middle framework, and let's run this attack, the same as before. So right now we can see everything is loaded, the Ssl Strip, and if we visit this page, which we couldn't visit before, we get it specified right here. Okay, so we can see that we are visiting the page, but what happens when we visit that page that we visited before, which was HTTPS? Let me just change. No, I did not want that page, so we want right here. And we specified that right here. We're still getting redirected for some reason. Can't really seem to figure out why is that. DNS cooking the response of type A for the website. So we are still getting redirected. Why are we getting redirected? I have no idea. But let's try some other page, which is Sam's Club. Now this page is usually the HTTPS page, and we can see that the Ssl strip worked for this page. Now I'm not really sure why it didn't work for that other HTTPS page. I believe it has something to do with the previous attack that we ran. But if you notice, for example, if you visit the samsclub.com page on your own, you will see that it is HTTPS, but right now we are able to capture all of the packets going through this page. And if you really notice, you will see something fishy about this page right here, as it has 4 W's instead of 3. Now we know World Wide Web has 3 W's, and here in the link we can see 4. Now that is the only thing that a person can actually notice if they are running this page on the ARP spoofed attack, since it can be literally the same domain as in the real page. It has to be some spoof domain, and they spoofed it with 4 W's. Now it is hard to notice, but if you know where to look, you will notice it easily. So now basically anywhere you go, you will be able to, for example, let's see if there is a login right here, not a member, join now. So you can go to the sign in right here. I believe this will lead us to, yeah, okay, so this will lead us to the login page. And if you specify anything right here and just specify password and click sign in, you can see, or you should see, that we received something. There is just too much stuff going on right here. Post data. Let me just see if I can find it. It should be somewhere around here. There is just too much data for us to find. Let us try once again. So if we post it once again, please enter a valid address. So let's just type windows@mail.com, so we can just type any MAC address or any address we have right here, and let me just see if it captured anything. Resolving. Here it is. So the username windows@gmail.com, and let me see where is the password. I'm not even sure what I typed as the password, so that could be a problem in this huge so password, there is something password, here it is. So value for the password is this one. Now it could be a really hard to find sometimes, but we managed to find it. So this is the password that I typed in. I just typed a bunch of random letters, and they were able to successfully get the login of username and password for the HTTPS page while performing the HTTPS or Ssl strip attack. So that's how you can actually gather the username and password from some websites that are not HTTP while performing the Ssl strip. Now this won't work on all the websites. As I said, on the TLS websites it shouldn't work. Ssl strip shouldn't work on TLS websites. But as I said before, I sometimes was able to get it working on twitter.com, and I could capture twitter.com credentials. So that would be about it for this tutorial. It was rather a long tutorial. In the next one we will cover some of the plugin, or we will combine two tools, which is this tool and the tool called Beef. I will show you how you can hook other browsers and try to exploit the victim machines on local network using man-in-the-middle attack. So that would be about it for this tutorial. I hope I see you in the next one. Bye! Hello everybody and welcome back. And let me show you in this tutorial how you can perform a powerful attack using the Beef framework and the man-in-the-middle attack framework. Now, Beef framework is basically a tool used for browser exploitation. It can be right here. The simple use of that attack, or the practical method of that attack, is basically hooking other people or hooking other browsers to connect to the page which is running the code for the redirection to the hook.javascript file, which then basically creates a zombie army of all of the machines that are currently connected on the local network, and if there are some browsers on those machines that are outdated, you can perform various types of attacks on them and actually exploit them. Now, in order for you to run beef, you need to first open up your terminal. You can run it through terminal or through the applications right here. I believe it is sniffing, spoofing. Okay, it is not there. Exploitation. Yeah, in exploitation tools, here it is, beef XSS framework. I will run it from the command tool. So just type here beef -XSS and run it. And what you want to do from here is basically copy this script right here and put it into your Apache 2 website. Now I will show you the entire process right here. Let me just open up the beef. So this opened automatically, and the username and password for this page are both beef. So just type here beef and then beef once again. Click on the login right here, and you will be prompted with page looking like this. Here you have online browsers and offline browsers. You can read this if you want to. Basically, this is just something about the new users. You can read if you are not familiar with the beef, since we didn't cover it before. But right now what I want to show you is what you need to do in order to hook other people for this type of attack. So you need to, let me just zoom in so you see it better. There is this link called the hook. What you want to do is this. So you want to create a simple HTML file or any fake page, or basically anything you want which is an HTML file, and put it onto your Apache 2 website on your Kali Linux machine or on other machine that you run. What you want to do is include this script, which is JavaScript code, into that HTML code on your Apache 2, and every time someone opens your Apache 2 web server or website through their Google browser or search bar or anywhere else, they will be running this JavaScript code, which will allow us to actually exploit them if their browser is outdated. We will see them in our beef framework on that web page that we logged in previously. So let me just show you how you can do that. So as I said before, your Apache 2 folder is in var www and then HTML. Here you have files, basically files that will display on the page once someone types in your IP address. Now for this attack I will use the Apache 2 on my laptop, but I will show you how you can create the attack with Apache 2 on your Kali Linux machine. So here we have the 1.html file, which I actually want to delete for now on. And what I want to do is nano, so we will create a new HTML file including the script code. So nano script.html. Now you can call it anything you want, it doesn't matter. Or actually it does matter, you need to call it index.html, so let me just rename it. So index.html, as I said before, if your HTML file on your web Apache 2 server isn't called index.html, it will not display it. So call it index.html, save file under different name, yes, and now we can write to the file. So we will create the most simple version of the HTML file. So just follow what I type right here. It doesn't matter if you do not understand it. You can basically just copy any page and add the same thing, which I will show you in just a second. I will just type a small code right here. Here we can add a title, which will be test. Now, for those of you that actually know the HTML, this will be very simple for you. For those of you who don't, you will also understand it. It's really not that hard to understand. We just create here the body tag and the head tag. And this h1 represents the header, which we will display on our page. And let's say it says just hello. We close the header with the h1 tag and the slash. And then we close the body header. or yeah, the body part, we also send the HTML part. Now let us save this, so Ctrl O and then Ctrl X to exit. Now we still didn't add the hook, but let me just show you, or let me actually add the hook first so you can see it. We not need to nano the index.html, and what you want to do is add the hook that you copied from the Beef framework, so that JavaScript code. Now it is the same for everyone. Where you want to add it, you want to add it to the head tag, so somewhere between this part right here and somewhere between this part right here. So let us add it right below the title, or we can actually add it above the title. So just type here script. Now this script right here is referring to the JavaScript code, and this CRC right here is basically source. So what this page will do is it will source the script to the IP address that we specified to, or to the folder that we specified to, and it will run that script that it finds there. Now my script is located on my basically on your own IP address. So what you want to do is basically just check out your IP address first, which you can do simply with the ifconfig. So what you want to do, ifconfig, my IP address is 192.168.1.7. so what you specify right here is equal, then double quotes, and then HTTP 2 dots / and then your IP address 168.1.7, and then you again specify 2 dots, and then you specify the port, which is always 3000. It should be 3000 by default. If it is not, you can change the configuration file, but it should be 3000 for you. And after that you specify / and then hook.js, which stands for JavaScript file. So this is the full link. Let me just, why is it? Okay, so this is the full link, and what you want to do right after is close the double quotes like this, and then close the entire script code. So script, and you are good to go. So right now you save this, say modified buffer, and if you can see it, this is the entire code that you need. So you need to put this in this directory right here, so /var/www/html, and you will be good to go. Now another thing that you want to do, in case your Apache 2 isn't running, you need to set it to run. So in order to check if your Apache 2 is running, just type service Apache 2 status, and here we can see loaded, active, inactive. So we need to run the Apache 2 first. So service Apache 2 start. So we started the Apache 2, and now let me show you what happens when someone visits that page. Now, as I said, I only showed you how to do this. I won't be using the Apache 2 from my Kali Linux machine. I will use it on my laptop where I have Apache 2 running, and where I have the same file that I showed you right here on my Apache 2. So it will display hello, and it also has a script in the head tag with the hook to the JavaScript file. So what happens when we visit the web page? So let me just first open this right here. As we can see, we do not have any browsers connected, but if you type right here 192.168.1 and .15, which is the IP address where I am running the file with the script of a hook. So we press here enter. As we can see right here, oh wait, I didn't rename it to the index.html, so just give me a second. As I said, the file that you have in the /var/www/html folder needs to be named index.html in order for it to display it. So I renamed it on my laptop, and let me just refresh the page, and here we can see it just displays hello, which can be really normal for a user. So he just noticed nothing is happening, he can close this right now. But what happened in our beef, now we have our browser hooked, which means we can perform any kind of exploitation or any kind of the attack if that browser is outdated. Here we can see browser is Windows NT, Windows 10, Windows 64, Mozilla. You can see it is over Chrome. So basically you just get a bunch of these information right here, the host, the name, IP, CPU, all kinds of stuff. And what you can do right here is basically just go to the commands, and here you have the attacks that you can perform on the browser. So here are some social engineering attacks, clickjacking, fake LastPass, Clippy, simple hijacker, and some other. You can have browser attacks, webcam, you can unhook it, you can play sound. There are just too much of these options right here. We will not cover basically these attacks. I just want to show you how you can hook a browser, and you now can experiment with all of this. Now, if the browser is outdated, this is a very powerful attack, since now you can basically do anything on the target PC. There are some of the Metasploit modules. I believe there is only one right here, but there are some exploits right here which you can also use. Shellshock, we covered what Shellshock is. That is the famous command injection attack. There are some of the other PHP DOS, so there are just a bunch of these options right here that you can perform, but more about that later. I just wanted to show you how you can hook a browser. Now, you might be asking right now, so what is the point? You need to get someone to type the IP address of that machine in order for it to load that page and in order for it to hook to our Beef framework. Now, that's where the man in the middle comes in. So what you can do is basically you can actually, let me show you. So let's go to the man in the middle. And what you can do, so let's type the --help. What you can do is you can actually redirect everyone on the local network to that website. So let's perform that. I will show you how you can do it. Basically, all you need to do is use captive portal. Now, captive portal you can use, as it says right here, be a captive portal. So captive load plugin captive portal, and we need to specify the URL where the portal is located. So the current URL where my portal is located will be my IP address of our laptop, since there is the JavaScript file that we need in order to hook browsers. So what we need to do is basically just type mitmf -i for the interface, and then we specify the --spoof --arp. So we are performing the ARP spoofing. And all we need to do after the gateway, which is, let me just see, 192.168.1.1, we need to specify captive and then portal URL, and then we specify HTTP 192.168.1.15, and that should be it. So right now, if I just press here run, you can see it is running the ARP spoofing attack. And now if I go to my browser and I want to, for example, refresh this page, which is from the previous attacks, and I just refresh it, you will see that I get redirected to the hello page. Now, this is just a redirection, but in the background it actually ran the JavaScript code from that hook file, and it actually hooked the browser or the PC on our Beef framework. So we have it right here. Now it is not hooked twice since I already have it right here, but if I were to run it from, for example, my laptop right here, so let me just visit the same HTTP page from my laptop, and you will see it also appear right here. So I will visit the same page. Let me just go to my laptop and let's go right here, and in a few seconds here is my laptop. As we can see, my laptop is Linux, running Mozilla, Ubuntu, Linux 64, you have some of the options, and now you can actually perform attacks on both of these machines. And soon enough, all of the machines on the local network will start appearing here, since any website you visit will get redirected to this page. Basically, no one will be able to go to any other websites that are HTTP or HTTPS over SSL. They will all be redirected to this page, and then their browsers will be hooked, where you can perform different types of the attacks. So that would be it about this tutorial. Now I will not be showing these attacks right here. You can just test them yourself. They're not that hard to perform, since this is GUI and you just need to type something right here and then the attack will work if the browser is outdated. So you can try that out on yourself, and we will try a few other different attacks before we move to the next tool in the next tutorial, and I hope I see you there. Bye! Hello everybody and welcome back. And now, before we continue to the Ethercap, which is another tool for the man in the middle, which I will show briefly, let us see what else we can do with our man in the middle framework tool. So there are a bunch of other options as well. We will not cover all of them, of course, but I just want to show you some of the things that you can do in order to specify your attack more detailed, or in order to perform some different type of the attack. So what we did cover how to spoof with both ARP and DNS. We were redirecting the DNS queries to some other websites. We were also performing the captive portal attacks, where we redirected all of the websites to the captive portal, which was running the vulnerable or the evil code, which was redirecting people to hook their browsers to our Beef framework. We were also performing some of the HTTPS attacks, which was Ssl Strip attack. But let's see what else we can perform in this tool. So let's see something perhaps funny. For example, here you have the replaces images with a random one from specified directory. So you can specify this, for example, and it will load plugin image randomizer, and you need to specify after that image -dir, and then the directory where you have some images stored, and it will it will change all of the pictures on that website from your directory pictures, and everyone on the local network will be seeing the website with different pictures. Now that is something that you can do. For example, I would show you, but I don't really have the folder with pictures right here. But there is another thing we can do. So for example, another funny thing is upside down internet, which loads plugin upside down internet, which flips images 180 degrees. So we can try that one out, since we don't need anything besides that. Let's see what else we can add in order to make our attack better. So let's, for example, add this, which is the screenshotter right here. Use HTML to render an accurate screenshot of clients' browsers. So let's see if this will work. Now, I used this before. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if it will work now. So what we will use is basically these two options. We need to specify screen, and then after that interval and seconds. So let's see how that would look like. We clear the page and we type as usual mitmf.py, then -i, and then the ETH0, which is our network interface. After that we specify spoof and then ARP. You will most likely always be using ARP spoofing, since you cannot perform man in the middle attack without it. After that, what we want to use, I believe it is upside down internet. Well, that could be a problem. Let us copy it. Or you know what, we can actually do it like this. So we can open up another terminal, and here we can go to the mitmf and then mitmf --help, and we will find those two plugins. I believe they were somewhere towards the top. Now this is also one interesting plugin, injects a JavaScript keylogger into clients' web pages. So this is basically a keylogger that will be injected into vulnerable web pages, and then you will be able to capture keystrokes. But we will not be doing that right now. We will only use these two, which is the screen interval and then the image randomizer, which is right here. Or not image randomizer, the upside down internet. It will flip all of the images on the current web page. So let us start typing it. Let me just go down here. So mitmf -i ETH0 spoof ARP. We already covered all of this. So gateway 192.168.1.1, then upside down internet, and then we also specify the screen, and then let me see how it goes. Screen, and then after that interval, so -- interval, and let's set that to 20 seconds, for example. And I believe we specified everything we need. Now let's see the target that we will be using is our good old website, which is this one. So if we refresh it right here, it doesn't have much pictures, but it does have some of them. So as you can see right here, this picture right here is also a picture. And let's actually run this. So it loads the default banner, it loads all of the plugins, and right now, if we try to reload this page, let's see if this will work. We can see this picture right here, which is in the name, is flipped. So let's see, this one is flipped, as we can see that 2019 is flipped, this one didn't. Now most of these, as we can see, this one did, so this is the picture that flipped as well. We can see it doesn't really work on all of the pictures, but some of them did flip. Let me just see if there is anything else that flipped. Okay, so that would probably be about it. Now some of them did and some of them didn't. We can try to render the page once again, maybe some of the others will flip as well, but it doesn't matter. This is just a little some fun thing that you can do while performing the attack. You can fool around with some people. So nothing else flipped. This is the picture that did flip. This one as well right here. So that's a fun thing to do. Now let's see another thing that could be more useful, which is this one. Saved screenshot to 192.168.1.2, and this is the name of the screenshot. So let's actually see if we were really able to capture any screenshots. So let's close this. Now I'm not really sure where exactly are these pictures. It could be in logs, so let's check right there. And here they are. We captured actually 5 different pictures, and let's actually open some of them. Now we will go to the folders, and then we go to the root directory, and then we will go to the MITMF directory and then logs and see what kind of screenshots we were able to capture. Now let's go to the, let me just see, home. We know, well, I do not want to go right here. Where I want to go is to the computer, and then from the computer I want to go to the root directory. Let me just find it right here. Then we go to the MITMF right here, to the logs, and here are the pictures. So we open one of them, for example, and we can see if it were to open. So let's see if this picture will open. Okay, there it is. We can see that we successfully managed to capture a screenshot from the target's browser. So this could be very interesting. You could capture all kinds of stuff with Screenshotter. As I said, it will only work on HTTP websites and on HTTPS websites while performing SSL. Now in this case we didn't perform SSL, we were attacking an HTTP website. So we can see that we successfully captured a couple of screenshots on each 20 seconds. We can also see this image that was flipped on the target's browser. So this attack successfully worked. Now let me see, since I don't really need this, let me open a terminal from here and let me delete. Or I will just delete it later, since it has some weird names, no sense to delete it right now. And we can see that we successfully captured screenshots, and also we successfully flipped images on target's browser. Now this is not the only thing you can do with this, of course, and this is just some fun things that you can perform. So let's see what else we can do. We will not be running any more attacks. I just want to show you that there are other things you can do as well. Such as, for example, I believe you can run a shell shock attack with this tool using this command right here. So MITMF, then E for the interface. Then right now what you want to use is spoof, and then spoof, and then DHCP, and you can use shell shock, And right here, I believe you need to specify a command, so for example, hello, and you will be able to run the shell shock attack, which we covered even before briefly. Now, shell shock, as I said before, basically it is a bug. It is widely known in the Unix bash shell. It was discovered, I believe, in 2014 or something like that. It allows an attacker to cause vulnerable versions of bash to execute arbitrary commands. So this can allow an attacker to gain unauthorized access to a computer system. So that is also something you can take a look at. You can also take a look at the keylogger that I showed you before. So there is that option as well. And there are a bunch of other options that you can use right here. So we will not be covering all of them. We covered some of them, some of the more important ones. And you can experiment with the others if you want to. Now, in the next video, what we will be covering is Ethercap Tool. That is the tool for man-in-the-middle attacking, which comes pre-installed in Kali Linux. We will cover it briefly since we covered most of the attacks in this tool, so I will just show you how to use the Ethercap tool and what you can do with it, and then we will continue to the next section, which is system hacking section, which is probably the most important section in this course. So that would be about it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye! Hello everybody, and welcome back to the man-in-the-middle section. Now, what I want to show you before the Ethercap is how you can clone any web page on the internet and use it as a fake login page or fake page on your Apache 2 web server. Then you can combine the attacks we did previously in order to redirect users to that page. Now, I will show you that it is very simple. Basically, let us first open our terminal. Let me enlarge this. And what you want to do before anything is check out your Apache 2 if it is running. So service Apache 2 status, which will give you if the service is running or not. So as we can see, my Apache 2 is running. It is active and running. And let me just close this. So okay, if yours isn't running, you just type here service Apache 2 and then start. And this will start your Apache 2. So now that you did that, how you can see that the files that are located in that page, you can basically first go to this directory right here, which is /var/www/html, and here when you type here ls are all the files that you have in this current directory, and all of the files in this current directory are also the files that will be displayed in the page. So let us create a simple text file, so nano text.txt, and type here hello. It doesn't even matter. So now if you type here ls, we have a simple text file right here. So let's go to our Firefox, and what you want to do is basically just type your own IP address and you will be redirected to your Apache 2 web server or web browser page, which is my IP address is 192.168.1.7. So if we type that 192.168.1.7, whoops, you will see that here we will have Apache 2.4 port 38 server running at this IP address, which is my IP address, on port 80. And we have the text.txt file that we created in the /var/www/html folder. But right now let us see how we can actually host an entire page there. Now, in order for you to actually clone the page, what you want to do is, for example, let's clone facebook.com. If we go to the Facebook, as soon as it loads, what you want to do is right click on it and then we want to clone the page. So, but first we need to wait for this to load. Not sure why it is taking so much time. I don't think I have a burp suit turned on, so it should load successfully. Looking up, so exploit db. Let's try other page. Well, that is not working. Okay, so I ran out of the internet. Okay, server not found. Looks like I don't have internet at the moment, so let me just restart it real quick. So here I am. Now I restarted my router and now I should be able to have internet. So let me just start off where I cut the tutorial, so we wanted to clone the Facebook page, for example, so you just go to the page itself, or any other page you want. Basically the principle is the same. So what you want to do is right click on the page and go to the save page as. Now you will do this only on the Firefox browser. I believe there is this plugin that you can save page as. If you're using any other browser, browser or search engine, I don't think that they have this. They possibly could, I'm not really sure. You can try it, but for now on, just click on the save page as, and what this will do, basically it will, as we can see, it has Facebook minus login or signup.html. It will save it in the downloads, so just click save, and we can see right here it successfully saved everything. So this is the entire page. Here it is, and here are the files that they are referring to for this page. Now by that I mean basically these pictures or anything else that there is right here. Basically if we go right here, we can have some of the JavaScript files, well, mostly JavaScript files, some CSS. So basically from this HTML page, in this code right here, it will refer to the files in here. So when you want to clone the page, now that we downloaded everything we need, we just need to copy these two files in our /var/www/html folder, which is our Apache 2 folder. So let me just close the Facebook right here. This is the current Apache 2 folder, so we only have text.txt. And right now, first we want to navigate to the downloads, or root and then downloads. If you type here ls, you will see here our two files that we need to copy. So one of them is HTML and one of them is directory containing JavaScript files and other files it needs. So let's copy, or let's actually move. This is the HTML. We want to move it into var www.html. Okay, so we moved one of them, and now we want to move the other one into var www.html, and we moved both of them. So let us just close this, we do not need it anymore. And right now if you go to the var www.html, you will see we have these files right here, which is the directory with files needed and the HTML file. Now we can remove now this text.txt, we do not need it anymore. And now if you go to the Firefox and refresh the page, you will notice that it doesn't really load the page. It only loads these two files so you can download them. Now that is because of the thing that I was talking about in the previous videos. The Apache 2 won't render out the page or the HTML code unless the main HTML file is called index.html. So what you want to do is rename the file .html, so this one, into index.html. So how we do that? Move facebook.html and we rename it to index.html. So right now if we type here ls once again, we have the folder containing files and we have the index.html, which is the main page. So let us render the page out again. So we refresh it, and right now you can see that we successfully cloned the Facebook page. So this is on our Apache 2 web server. As you can see, the address is 192.168.1.7 and everything else looks exactly like Facebook. Now what you can do is basically use the attacks we did before. For example, that man-in-the-middle DNS spoofing attack. You can just redirect or try to redirect the real Facebook page to this IP address right here. And anytime or basically any website that you cloned, you can just, if someone typed facebook.com in their browser while you're performing the ARP spoofing and DNS attack, they will be redirected to this Facebook page, which looks identical. The only thing they can actually notice, which would be different than the real Facebook page, is the link right here. So in the real Facebook page, if we go to it, you can see that it has a legit HTTPS link with the green thing right here, green lock, and here it is basically just the IP address of our Kali Linux machine. So that is the only difference, and right here we also see that it didn't really render the Facebook sign for some reason. Possibly it's not in that file, but it doesn't really matter. And this type of the attack, or this type of cloning, you can do for any page you want. You just right click on it, save page as, and then you rename the main HTML file into index.html, and then you paste all the files in the /var/www/html. So I just wanted to show you that, and that would be it for this tutorial. And now we will finally go to the Ethercap in the next one, and I hope I see you there. Bye!